What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth. I am Mel, and joining me as always is Ronnie Big Smooth Hennigan. Smooth, what's up, man?
Not a whole lot, Mel. It was a very eventful week to say the least, wouldn't you say?
Oh man, I loved it. I hardly got any sleep this week, to be
Hey,
honest.
man, it was beautiful, bro. I just feel like things are coming for us, man. Got to keep grinding and doing what we do. But besides all of that, I know we'll probably get into some of that later. I'm just thankful to have Coach on to be able to join us today, man. So let's get to it, man.
Speaking of coach, this man is an arena football great. He's arguably on a team that I absolutely could not stand. Love the man himself, but his team, I hated him. I I hated them for many reasons, not just because they was them, but we'll get into that a little bit later. We'd like to welcome Mr. Don't Blink himself, Steve Papin to the show. Coach, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
We, like you said, we had a great night, had a great week. If everything I'm paying attention to tonight keeps up, we might even have a better week.
Right
But
on.
we are where we need to be.
Absolutely.
So
Bless, bless.
before we get into it, like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Kafifi. For me, I actually got this coffee in. It is not bad. I'm a coffee drinker, so it's very good coffee. Go over to kafififorme.com. You get your coffee. It's shout out to everywhere. You know, many different blends. I got the mocha blend. We got that in Tuesday, I believe. It's actually pretty good. I don't really go outside my normal, but that was some great coffee.
I'm gonna
And
check it out myself, man.
yeah, and our other sponsor, Uncle
Oh man.
Rico's Quarter Mile Challenge. If you really want to get your quarterbacking on and
God.
you want to get to throw over them mountains, you try Uncle Rico's Quarterback Challenge. It's now out on Nintendo.
It doesn't get old, man. It
Man.
never gets old. Like every single time, man.
It's not supposed to, man. It's not supposed to. And we gotta give one more shout out to our another sponsor, Box Bands. They were our first, endorsement, and they gave us a very good product. So gotta shout them out. They are still in business. They still helping out athletes. Strength through resistance. Resistance is key. Get you some box bands. All right,
Absolutely.
Coach. Give us your story. Take us through humble beginnings. What was life like for you growing up until the point where it got to be you have to make a change and go to high school and from high school to college.
Oh man, for me, I mean, all I can remember. I mean, I'm getting old now. My childhood, I just remember sports. We did sports all day, every day. We had the, I think back then it was what Atari 2600, and in television was our video game. So, I'm originally from Denver, Colorado. So, over there, football in the streets, basketball at the open gym. As a youngster, and then once I started getting a little bit older, we started getting on the AU teams and all that stuff. And I was football, basketball, baseball. I did it all. I think more of it was my moms didn't want me in house. Get outside and go do something. So we played sports. We did all that. And then in high school, getting up into that point. I mean, I think the thing that's weird is in Pop Warner. And this is going to sound crazy. No, I didn't look this up. And I can remember this to this day. I was 47-2-1 in my Pop Warner career in football.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
we won championship and Pop Warner and championship. And then you get to high school and, things change. You got to grow up. And I actually went to Manual High School up in Denver my freshman year. We won a state championship in basketball. Our starting five, every single one of them went Division I. I was a freshman that year. Then I moved to California my sophomore year and started playing basketball and football out here, and then just took off. I mean, like I said, the only thing that I enjoy doing all the time is football and sports. Period. Basketball is actually my favorite sport.
Really didn't know that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
would
I
think
went to college for basketball.
You would think by the way we saw you play on the field, you was a born and bred football player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I went to college for basketball at JC and ended up playing football in the last game of the season. Messed up my collarbone. And then the basketball, it was like November. The basketball coach said, well, you probably won't see the court till January. And I said, well, I'm not going to see the court at all. And that football was been my sport ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just learned something new because I promise you, the way you watching you as a kid on the field, it's like, man, he's a true football player. There's no way around that. But now that I know you played basketball, and your Pop Warner team was like almost the greatest team of all time. Like
until we got to the big boys. Yeah. I mean, and that's the one thing about it is I can't tell you a SaberCat stat, a New York Dragons stat, a Portland State stat, a high school stat. But I can remember, and I guess it was because it's one of my accomplishments that I just, 47-2-1, and we only played 8 games in our Pop Warner. And in 8 games, I scored 40 touchdowns one season. And that's one stat I'll never forget. And it's Pop Warner, so it don't mean nothing. But I'll never forget that stat. 40 touchdowns in 8 games.
What? Jeez. Is that even legal?
Yeah. I couldn't tell you no other stat.
Wow. Okay. Well, I did do my research, and I knew you went to Portland State. So what was Portland State like at that time, and what convinced you to stick with football in college?
Well, kind of like backtracking and completing the story. The reason why I coach now is because of kids like me. Coming out of high school, Colorado, Tennessee, Penn State, Oregon, all kind of, stats. And back when I played, we had Prop 48. I wasn't a good student. I was never ineligible, but I wasn't a good student. I didn't think I needed it. I'm going to be a baller. I'm going, So I coach now to stop kids from being like me. So I had to go to JC for 2 years. Got a scholarship out of JC, the University of Arkansas. Went to the South, and it was don't go here. Make sure if you're here after dark, you don't make this right turn. That and it kind of, I'm from Colorado where we have, it's everybody, and then California it's like menudo, gumbo, everybody get along. So when they told me, that segregation stuff, it kind of blew my mind a little bit. So after that I only had 2 years left to play, so Division II was the only place I could go play and get my worth. So Coach Walsh was up at Sonoma State, and he had been trying to recruit me because of my grades, and Sonoma State didn't offer scholarships. So I looked, I'm gonna be honest, I laughed at him. I want a scholarship. So when I left Arkansas, he was at Portland State at the time, and just came back at me again and offered me a scholarship for 2 years. Well, actually, he didn't, because I still needed to get some classes. So I went to Portland Community College. I went and paid my way up there, went to Portland Community College, and then they gave me a scholarship for my 2 years. And I mean, it was 2 of the most unique years. You're used to this big time college football, and you're down at Arkansas, and it's 70,000 seat stadium, and everybody knows you. And then you go to Portland State, and it's a commuter school. It's right in the middle of downtown. Like my dorm was literally maybe 4 blocks from Nike Town. I mean, that's how close we are to downtown. So it was a big shock. It was a big shock, but we went up there, and I went up there with a lot of people from California and the junior colleges around me. So it was just one big, like fraternity of guys that you played in junior college and you knew. So at that time, we weren't thinking like kids now. They don't get a Division I scholarship. They don't want to go. They think it's blasphemy, So we didn't think of it that way. We went up there, man, and if we could have beat Texas A&M Kingsville, we probably would have had 2 national championships. We could not get past them. And, off of my 2 years there, I want to say Derek Holmes, Jay Hun, Bockert, Paul Brown. We probably had 7 or 8 guys go NFL from Portland State in 2 years. So, we was playing big boy. I mean, we played Oregon the year they went to the Rose Bowl. We played McNeese State when they was ranked number 1. We played Western Kentucky when they was ranked, I think, 7th in Division I. So, I mean, we played some good schools, and it was a good experience. And it's one I wouldn't trade. If everybody wants to go to Alabama and Oregon, I wouldn't trade mine. I had a good time. I grew up. I was able to, finally realize what being a man and putting all the stuff together meant up there. So it was fun.
All right. We're gonna fast forward because I like I said, it wasn't you, it was your team.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we fast forward your last 2 years, and 1997 rolls around, and you are in a San Jose SaberCats uniform. How did that happen?
Well, I hope he ain't watching. Coach Arbette, he was the special teams coach then. And at Nike Town up in Portland, he came up there and was following me around the store. And I'm with my mom. My mom was up visiting. And I'm like, Mom, I think security's on me. The feds is watching. He was following me everywhere I went. And I'm like, what's going on? And we ended up meeting. He gave me his card. And, and I'm just going to keep it 100. Arena football was a joke to me. I'm a running back. Arena football was passing. I wanted to go NFL. I wanted the big time. So he actually gave me the card. Yeah, whatever. I actually got allocated to the NFL Europe by the Kansas City Chiefs. Darren Arbette was down in Alabama when we were doing our NFL Europe. Was it called NFL Europe when I was there? Yeah, because it's World League. And he was down there and, trying to recruit me there. Here's my card. I'm like, man, I'm going over here to Scotland. I'm going to go ball, and I'm going to the NFL. Went over to Scotland, and I want to say maybe the first or second game I played, Saran Stacy came back. So I was the odd man out, got cut, came back, and I hope they're not listening. They called me on a Saturday to come to the SaberCat tryout workout. I didn't show up till Thursday. Because I was just like, arena football is not, it ain't something I grew up on. It's nothing, and I'm in San Jose, but I just didn't think it was football. So I showed up Thursday. I want to say practice Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, we had a preseason game in New York. I told them, hey, I don't know football. I don't want to go. They said I wasn't going. Then somebody got hurt. And then they said they was going to take me. And I didn't even want to go because I didn't know the game. Went to New York. Only game in my life I did not ever step on field. I played no downs, no nothing.
Wow.
Came back, went through camp. They cut me because I was, arena football is a receiver game, and I'm a running back. So they cut me. I went in and talked to Coach Shell. Hey, can you keep me on practice squad? He kept me on practice squad for maybe 6 weeks, and then NFL Europe called me back. So I went over there for like 3 weeks to finish the season, and I balled out. So now when I came back, he had a different light of me, like, uh-oh. And I think the week I got back, Titus might have got hurt, and then they finally activated me against Anaheim, Mark Grieve and them. And, first game, I think it was like 5 touchdowns, over 200 yards, all hitches because I'm a running back. And then after that, it took off, and I after that Anaheim game, I had a new respect for arena football.
As we all did learning.
Yeah, yeah.
Now with that, Steve, I know you were talking about how it was a wide receiver game for the most part when you first looked at it, and then you being a running back. What did you feel was the biggest adjustment for you in terms of making that transition to arena ball, being a running back and going to that kind of atmosphere? Like, what did you have to do to really take off, I guess, from there and get, the kind of accolades that you got?
Well, I think being in San Jose helped because they did a lot. They catered to my strengths, threw me a lot of screens, gave me the ball out of the running back position, let me, taking it off the net. But I think the two things, and I can't remember the guy's name, the one thing that was tough with me was actually running routes. In college, you run a slip route, a swing route, a Texas route. We're not lining up running routes. And I think, I can't remember the guy's name. He played in Florida. It was like maybe my second. We played Anaheim. I think we might either played Florida second or third or something. And he's pressing me. And I had no clue how to get off press. And the dude ate me up. He just grabbed me and threw me and slung me. And so the biggest adjustment for me was learning how to run routes and then understanding how to beat press coverage, because I never lined up. In college, you might line up in a slot and run a bubble.
Right.
But, just being able to adjust. And then George LaFrance was huge. He taught me everything I knew, taught me the game, and showed me how to become a receiver. And then, like I said, San Jose catered. They didn't make me play the arena football game the way it was supposed to. They kind of said, well, he's a running back, so let's get him the ball early. Let's put the ball in his hand. Instead of me running digs and post corners and stuff like that, it was just Coach Malley gave me a few certain routes, and I just, took those and got good at them. I didn't try and say, I want to become a receiver. I just said, let me play to my strengths and help the team.
All right. I have to ask this because it's something I always wanted to know. But shout out to Coach LaFrance. We still got to get him on the show. James Hunden, Barry Wagner, Mark Grieve to a degree. What was it like? What was it like in the huddle with these guys at the time? Because Barry was still pretty much in his prime, and James Hunden was coming into his own, which made me hate all of y'all. You gotta think about this. Like before Ronnie, before you kill me on this, just think about this. Barry Wagner was a predator. Mm-hmm. He was a pred. Mm-hmm. And then they let him go. And then he ends up all the way on the West Coast in San Jose. It's bad enough y'all got Barry. Now you got Steve, because he's shifty. He was San Jose's answer to Hunky Cooper in terms of speed and elusiveness. Then you got James Hunden. He pretty much a goon. Anytime he touched the ball, somebody getting ran over. Like, come on, man. If it ain't one, it's the other. You got to give me something. But what was that chemistry like in the huddle and on the field with those guys?
Well, I'm gonna say something, and you might not agree, but and I done been to, Hunky Cooper taught me the game, Schexnayder, Gatewood. I learned, Barry, best receiver ever to play football. In my opinion, was James Rowe, and you didn't even mention him. James Rowe was the dog of our team. I
didn't want to mention him because every time I talk about him, he got a ball in his hand.
Yeah. Smooth was the heart and soul of our team. I was the off the net guy and the trigger guy, and Barry was the two-way guy. And James Hunden, I played up at Portland State with him, so I brought him in. Put it this way: me, Shalon, and Tommy Jones brought Barry here. I brought James Hunden here. So that's the difference. Like you say, you hate it, but it was the chemistry. Shalon Baker, Jerry Reese. None of us had egos. None of us had attitude. We just wanted to win championships. We wanted the ball. And in that huddle, it wasn't a thing of, get me the ball. Let me do this. It was, if it was a route that, Steve run the corner route on the goal line, we would go, hey, Barry, take my spot. Barry, you go do this. Or, Rowe. And that was the one thing about us is we all knew our strengths. We all knew what we were better at. We all knew what we were weak at, and we kind of just played off of each other. And, not to foreshadow or get ahead of myself. I don't know if you're going to ask no questions, but that was why I didn't last in New York. It was totally opposite. It was me, I. Who cares? And I wasn't about that. I was about the team. I was about trying to, do everything possible. You figure Barry Wagner, if not for Eddie Brown, Barry Wagner's either one or two of the greatest ever. James Rowe to me is top through. Joe Hills, my man used to play for Chicago. I think he was the best. Can't even remember my man's name. But James Rowe, Jerry Reese, who played for the Buffalo Bills, James Hunden, who played for the Cincinnati Bengals. So we had a team of superstars, but everybody just bought in, and then we get Bob McMillan from the Arizona Rattlers to come play fullback. It was something to be seen the way they made us work together. And it wasn't no funk, it wasn't no issues at first, but it was just the way they put these pieces together and made it a cohesive unit.
Yeah, because honestly, every time y'all play on the East Coast, I'm like, man, somebody getting beat. It's gonna get bad. It's gonna get ugly. Because you as a fan, and you see Barry Wagner, and Barry Wagner comes out in the Miracle Minute. Like that's what put him on the map, even though people already knew who he was. Miracle Minute and Barry Wagner. James Rowe is like the quiet guy, but every time you see him, he's behind the defensive back in the back of the end zone. Mm-hmm. You're returning kicks and averaging, I think he was averaging like 17 yards in return. And I'm like, who has time to defend this? Like you watching this, and I'm like, hey, look, as long as they don't end up in the arena ball, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's nothing against you. It was just that's how much I hated the SaberCats. You had my favorite player of all time. You had Rowe, you had Hunden. Like y'all averaging 77 points a game. Who has time to defend this? If I'm looking at this as a player, and I'm like, if I'm on the opposing team, I'm not showing up that game. We see the SaberCats. I'll see y'all next week.
Unless you were Nashville. They had our number.
Them, and I did want to ask, what was the rivalry with Arizona like? Because outside of the war on I-4, which features Tampa Bay and Orlando, that's the best rivalry in arena football. What was that like? Because I've heard stories, none of them are confirmed, but I heard it was a mutual respect, but on the field, it was to hell with all y'all. So what was that like?
It was, perfect example, I think it might have been either 97 or 98. I think Iowa might have knocked us out of the playoffs. And I was down in Arizona hanging out with Bonner, Cooper. They were getting ready to play, I think they played Tampa, and then they might have played Iowa in the championship. And I was out there hanging. I know all them. Like to this day, I might talk to Hunky, Gatewood, Hunky for sure, Gatewood and Bonner more than I talked to the SaberCat players, teammates. We had a respect when Arizona came here. Hunky took us out, So on the field, it was. Let me just be honest. Early on, they probably did that because we couldn't beat them. They beat us. Probably 96, 97, maybe 98, but then 99, 2000, it started turning, and we would get one, we would get two, we'd finally get a blowout. So early on, it wasn't really a rivalry. Early on, it was Arizona spanking San Jose, and then, Coach Shell came from Arizona and came to San Jose. So that heightened the rivalry, but it's never been a bad blood type of, like when you think Michigan, Ohio State, they hate each other. They don't even say each other's name. Mm-hmm. Well, our thing was just, they had something we wanted. For us to get where we wanted to be, we knew we had to, we didn't worry about LA. We didn't worry about Portland. We didn't worry about Anaheim. For us to get where we wanted, we had to beat Arizona. And it took us probably 2 or 3 years before we were able to compete with them. We competed, but they got us. So the rivalry was intense. It wasn't nothing like it. As you see, they played in what? I think San Jose's got 4 Arena Bowls or 5 they played. They played Arizona 2 or 3 times. So it's that rivalry. Respectfully.
Yeah, because it would be times like I didn't know at the time that it was a rivalry. And I like watching, you see Hunky Cooper, you see Shedrick Bonner. You still got to get him on too. Mm-hmm. But it didn't seem like that. And then you guys would just go back and forth. So, outside of the Preds and the Storm, there was no other rivalry. Here you guys come, which I thought was great because now it's like, all right, if the Preds can't beat them, I know the Rattlers got them. Y'all got to go. But sadly, that fortune turned upside down, and it was just like, all right, you guys win. You got it. I can't because I couldn't stand it.
Once Cleveland showed up, it changed.
Man, why you have to bring him up? Why you?
It changed.
See, so now you're just bringing back bad memories, man. Now, like y'all, you know what? For people watching at home, the San Jose SaberCats of the late '90s / early 2000s, that was a super team. Forget Golden State, forget Boston, forget the Heat with LeBron, Bosh, and Wade. This was a super team.
Yeah, and it was. It started at the top. Our owner, John Fry. he wanted to win. He was all about winning. We had the top-notch facilities. We had top-notch everything. I mean, how many arena football teams get to fly in their own plane? We had our own.
None that I can think of.
Yeah, we had our own private plane. So, we was up and down, and you get on the plane, and you would literally get on the plane, and it was crab legs and shrimp. I mean, so guys are feeling like you're worth something. We didn't make, we made good money, but, it wasn't in the millions and all that. So he just made you feel like you were a professional. He made everybody from, management to cheerleaders. Like our cheerleaders were the highest paid, not in arena football, in sports. So he did it the right way. He did it the right way. So it was one of those things where we just tried and ball out because he made us feel like pros.
You just schooled us on something. Yeah, you just schooled me on something new. I didn't know they was the highest paid.
Yeah. They were the highest paid. I mean, cheerleaders don't make much, but he took care of them, and he did it the right way. And I mean, you see our cheerleader trials was 300-400 people, to get in. I mean, it was a top-notch organization from, everything. We had our practice facility was like an arena. Nets was up, walls was up. We was indoors in a sense, without a top. But I mean, it was professional football.
That's a testament in itself, man. Because you figure if you're an owner or if you're a manager, however you want to put it, and you take care of your people, your employees, whoever, you're going to get that output that you want, versus being in part of some kind of organization or, place where it's like you're not really taking care of it. You're just like pounding them over and over again with numbers and stats and we got to do this and we got to do that. But it's like, if I don't feel appreciated, I'm not going to really be thinking about you necessarily. I'm going to think about me, and that's when it comes back to that me attitude and me trying to be like, I'm going to do what I got to do to get mine. If they mess up, that's on them. You know what I'm saying? And that's just it. And I like the fact that you're telling us that and that we get to hear that firsthand, because I had no idea he was even like that. I wouldn't even have known that. And it makes more sense now as to the kind of output that you guys gave. Not anything less of the talent itself, but that's like an incentive on top of it. Like, to your point, y'all made us feel the way that we wanted to feel in terms of some of the other teams or other, different levels of football we wanted to be at. You gave us that feeling, so why not keep playing for this organization? Why not want to come back? Why not want to give them what they want? Because essentially you're getting what you want.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now, speaking of which, I wanted to ask you too, what was that feeling for you like to get, the Don't Blink Player of the Year a couple times? Like, what was that like when you first were honored with that? And then what did that mean for you as a player in football?
Well, I mean, I'm a humble dude. I don't really, but, just because I look at it as, God gave me the talent to do it, and so when they first gave it to me, I was shocked. And I was actually, I think the first year I got it, we might have been in Albany. I think it was Albany. And then the second year was Tampa Bay. So I got some free trips, but I mean, it means more to me than, I don't know. I came in third in the Harlan Hill in Division II, which is like the Heisman. All my accolades, all my, accomplishments, the most important to me is the Don't Blink. And for two reasons. One, they created it for me. It wasn't an award that was out there and I just stole from, Calvin Schexnayder or, one of these great players. They saw the dynamic things that I did and brought differently to the game. So to almost have an award created for you is an accomplishment. And then I think the thing that I like, a year or two, I think my man Coop got it a year or two when I retired. They took it away because it wasn't that dynamic player no more. So it's kind of like you get awards created especially for you and for what you bring. And then Cooper got it, and I think Swain. And then for it to go away, it's kind of sad because you don't want to see your award go away. But then to me, that was kind of like saying there's nobody, I don't mean worthy, but there was no other player like what I did. I think it was me, Lamar Cooper, and maybe, I don't even know if Lamar might have played receiver in college, but I know me and Ryan Benjamin were really the only two running backs to ever play arena football and have some success. So to be able to have an award, and it's sitting right over here on my wall. It's sitting
Just
right
rub
there.
it in.
Yeah.
Just rub it in.
I mean, it means that much to me. Like, I don't have too much. Like I said, I don't keep too much memorabilia, like pictures, but I have those two awards because that symbolized to me, especially with me not getting in the Hall of Fame, that kind of makes me still feel like, I can't let the Hall of Fame define me.
You know what? I'm only going to disagree with that only because I feel like you should have been in the Hall of Fame.
Appreciate it.
Well,
why? And I don't have firsthand knowledge of this, but it's the rings. Since I didn't get a ring, they didn't feel like all the votes. From and I could be totally off base. Just what I've heard, I got in twice, but other people had rings, so the vote meant nothing. And let's get this person in because he's got a ring.
Well, Warner don't have a ring in the Arena League, and he still got in. So
yeah. So I mean, and that that's why, like, the one thing that I'm hoping if this thing comes back is they redo that again, and I get my shot. And if I don't, I'll be Charles Barkley. I have no problem with it. He's one of the 50th greatest of all time. So, it would be nice to just be able to say Hall of Famer. And did I play long enough? I don't know. Did I put up enough? I don't know. But I think I did enough to help revolutionize the game to deserve a spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can tell you what that award meant for me as a person watching. Like, man, why do he got the ball? Why don't somebody trip him? Something. Like, honestly, it's only, and I'm being completely honest, it's only, I could think of 3 players off the top of my head that I could say I absolutely hated watching, only because when they played against the Predators or when you saw them playing, every time they touched the ball, it was like bad things was about to happen. That was you. It was Barry when he got to San Jose, and it was I want to say Damian Porter.
Oh, okay. DP, yep.
And every time y'all got a ball in y'all hands, somebody getting shook, somebody getting run over, or it's a touchdown. And it's like, yo, why? It's like, can't y'all, like, y'all got 8 other people on the team. Y'all can't get them the ball. and then as soon as I say that, Barry get the ball for a touchdown, Hunter get the ball for a touchdown. It's like, man, come on. Like,
pick your poison.
Yeah, and every time I say that, the poison come up. I can't win for losing.
Yeah, I mean, but you think about it, if you go back and see, this is why name recognition, and I think a lot of it is Barry, because he is the GOAT. And then when you look at what Grebe accomplished, Grebe is by far one of the best quarterbacks numbers wise. I mean, the guy didn't throw interceptions, but if you look back and you go, if somebody was to tell you a team had Randy Gatewood, Hunky Cooper, and Calvin Schexnayder, them is 3 go-getters. Mm-hmm. Greg Hopkins, Eddie Brown, and I want to say it was, who was the third guy? They had with Pulowski out there. And when you just go back and you start looking, but I think what makes us different is the way we did it. We could attack you off the net. We could attack you with Barry or me running the ball on the ground. We can attack you with 3 or 4 different receivers in the air. So I think that's why when you're talking super team, I think it was just the way we could attack. But I mean, it was a whole bunch of teams that had 2 or 3 guys that could go get it. But I think when you put, like, if you took Barry and put Barry in Arizona, or you put Barry in Albany, or you put Barry, anywhere, because of his name, you're just going to get that extra, superstar because of him.
Right.
And I think that, because, before Barry came on, we were still doing our little thing, but like he just came and it just brought a different aura to what we were able to do because of who he was. Like, I went one time to go watch an arena game, San Jose versus Orlando. I go, let me see what this game is about. And Barry didn't play and I left. I think he didn't make the trip because he was hurt, and I left because I wanted to see Barry Wagner. This is probably 1995 or 96, but that's just what he brought. You know, only time I wanted to go watch an arena game was when he showed up. So I think he's the key.
Can't blame him for being hurt. That man played Iron Man football the way it was supposed to be played for 20 some years.
Mm-hmm.
So I ain't even mad at him. I have to ask, when you were in the Arena League, was there anybody that you just couldn't stand? Like, was there any animosity towards a player on another team, or was it just everybody was cool because you guys had that camaraderie?
This is going. Oh, you might disconnect me on this one. And now
we gotta hear it.
Let me preface this by saying I got this much respect for who I'm about to say. I don't talk to him as much. We've never had animosity. We've never had an ill word amongst each other. But the one dude that I hated just because of the way it's like Chris Paul. People hate Chris Paul, but he's a baller. Mm-hmm. Damon Mason. And it was because he was a baller, and he wasn't no pretty boy, pantsy. You know, he was a baller. He stuck his nose in there. He came up on the run. And I got much respect. Like I said, this is nothing personal. You know, as a man, as a human being, as a football player, I got his back 1,000%. But when I say hate, I think it's more. When you go play a team, who didn't you want to play?
Right.
Damon Mason. That's what it was.
It's funny that you mentioned him. We had him on the show a few months back.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a gangster. He was a gangster. You know.
I can believe that.
I played, Arizona had Cecil Doggett. I just got off the phone about 30 minutes ago right before you with Sid Walker. I've coached with Sid Walker at 3 different places. He watched my daughter. I watch his kids. I'm with family, and, going down there to face Sid and Cecil was okay. The glove didn't really get me. And the glove is awesome, but it was just Damon Mason. And I think it was because, and I shouldn't say this on the air, when that dude hit you, you felt it. And he wasn't no big dude, but he brought the wood. And I think it would have to definitely be, Damon Mason. And again, nothing personal, just who I didn't want to see on the football field.
I respect that. And for those watching, for those that are gonna watch later on, when he's referring to the glove, he's not referring to Gary Payton. He's referring to Kenny McIntyre, who is arguably one of the greatest defensive backs in arena football history.
Mm-hmm.
But Damon Mason was a dude, like, I got scared watching him because he hit people so hard.
Yeah.
And he put you in the mind of like Brian Dawkins or Steve Atwater.
Jack Tatum.
Oh yeah. Hey.
No, he brought that wood, man, and wasn't shy about telling you when he hit you either.
I can believe that too.
Yeah.
I saw I happened to find a old college game of him, and they was playing Texas A&M. I think this was the year they beat Texas A&M, and he smacked this running back, and he just stood over, and I'm just like, I can only imagine what he's saying to him right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was the one. He was the one.
Man, got you. You ain't having flashbacks over there, are you?
Nah. I'm just sitting here thinking. I mean, you're bringing back memories. I mean, and the thing about arena football, it's the relationship. It's like I said, me and Sid Walker, we watch each other's kids. We've coached together. We've been on trips together. I mean, so I'm just sitting there thinking because you're talking that eye on I-4, and I'm going back to. To me, outside of Cleveland, Damon, the glove, Perkins, Stingley, Johnny Harris, I mean, was a dog. You're just bringing back memories of all these great football players that a lot of people didn't get a chance to see because it really wasn't YouTube, wasn't no social media. Arena football wasn't as big, but I mean, I think Johnny had a couple of stints with the Raiders, but Johnny Harris was them Florida boys, them Tampas and them Orlandos had some fire.
That was fun. Those were fun games to watch, especially when Gruden took over as coach for Orlando and he was going up against Coach Markham.
Yeah, Ray, he rest in peace. Yeah.
We man, for those who are actually interested in arena football, go back and find some of these games on YouTube. You will not be disappointed. These games are very exciting, especially with Barry Wagner, James Rowe, Hunky Cooper, and them. And you know what? To be honest, I feel like this is just me personally. I feel like the AFL had some of the best uniforms.
Yeah.
Even with, except for the Zubaz era, that was an ugly era in football, period. But outside of that, y'all guys had some of the best uniforms. Like when the Avengers came out, they had some great uniforms. Yeah. Who am I missing? I know the Sea Wolves in New England had some great uniforms. Yeah. Portland, the Forest Dragons had some great uniforms.
Carolina had some nice ones.
Even though they stunk.
Yeah. No, I mean it was a very like I said, I hated, I didn't hate, but I wasn't interested in arena football. And then you get out there and you see the uniform, you're seeing these, like for us at San Jose, I mean, we had 16,000 every night. Arizona had 15, 16, whatever. I mean, we went to New Jersey or New York or Houston. It was packed, and it's just it's a funny thing because when you're sitting back and you can go Gruden, Bonner, Grieve, I think personally, and this isn't again, I love the game. The greatest arena football player to me, the greatest was Aaron Garcia. That's just my opinion. That was my opinion. For what he went through. That was a
bad boy.
No line. He never had a line, barely had a defense, but he just balled. And you can mention all these people, and where do you mention Kurt Warner? You know what I mean? Like he was a better pro. Not that he wasn't good in arena football. When you think arena football, you don't think Kurt Warner. You just don't. I mean, you do now because he's in the Hall of Fame, but Kurt wasn't. I mean, he was good, but he's not one of the guys that came up in the conversation of, man, did you go watch that game because of, he just wasn't. And he's great. And I'm not knocking him, but I mean, we've had so many great players.
I'm not arguing with that one. I can't, because he only played like 2-3 years. So you're right.
He was awesome.
You're right.
His quick release, he got after, but it was just, and
you're right.
He didn't have I think it was just Iowa. Like if Kurt would have been in Arizona, Tampa, somewhere where it was, I think in Iowa, he was just a forgotten or lost because he gets a lot of accolades for what he did with the Cardinals. Pertaining to arena. And again, like he beat us. He knocked us out of the playoffs. He was dynamic. He was, he was quick release. He still balled. But like when you mention arena football, like you would think this is a NFL all-time great, a Hall of Famer, that he would be one of the first 2 or 3 that you mentioned. And he's not, because it was so many electrifying players, James Barron, Sam Hernandez. I mean, you had guys that,
Sam was that dude too.
Yeah. Stevie Thomas.
Yeah, Stevie. And the fact that you mentioned Garcia, which I think rightfully so, because nobody ever gives him the credit he deserves for actually holding up a lot of teams, because those early teams that he played on where you're right, he didn't have a line. His receivers were not the best, but he made them look good. And he took a beating. He took a beating.
Yep. He was my roommate out in New York. And I don't think there's a piece of his body that after games he didn't have ice on.
Wow.
He took a beating.
Yeah.
He is, to me, if I had to rank him, he's one. And I've always said that.
especially for me, especially at quarterbacks, I've got him one, especially after he finally won the championship with Jacksonville. It's rightfully deserved.
And that's the thing. And I mean, I have two sitting up here now, 2 rings, but I've never been a dude that base what somebody's accomplishments are on rings, because we always say this is a team sport. And he just hadn't been on the best teams, but he was the best player.
Yeah.
You know, if you took him, and again, like I said, if you took Aaron in those, once the game started going, and you put him with San Jose, you put him with Arizona, and he'd have championships. Now, the thing that was different about him is he called his own plays, and that's why it was hard for me. I didn't last in New York because I'm used to the structure. Hey, you got to run this post, you run this sail. Where out there was a lot of option routes and choice routes, and I didn't fit in there. But that's why he took a beating, because he's waiting on the Kevin Swains and the Mike Furries. But I think pound for pound, eliminate rings, and you're going toughness, athleticism, stats. He's the best.
Yeah,
he's the best.
And that's a testament to the sport of arena football, because I don't think people really realize, as me playing formerly myself, you playing, that, you know, listen, this ain't the sport that you think it is. I've seen people get beat up and like they're no longer playing, not just in the league, they're no longer playing because they took this sport for a joke, and it's not.
Mm-hmm. You know how many NFL guys came to camp with us and didn't even get signed? You know, and I won't throw names out, but we had, I could probably tell you we had over between 5 and 10 NFL guys, not practice squad, not, you know, NFL guy, they might have got cut or, you know, got old in the tooth, that came and worked out with us, and we didn't sign him because he couldn't play the game. Not this game. It was a special athlete.
Yeah. You definitely had to be built for it, especially back then.
Yeah.
I know for me, man, just like seeing how guys make that transition and the speed of the game being a lot different, shorter fields. And I know just going to see some of the games, you know, when they finally got a team in Cleveland after they were in Vegas or whatever, it was just crazy because I was like, when I saw a dude get bashed up against the wall or go over it, or when you coming down and you on concrete, you know, that gave me a whole different perspective. Because, I mean, you know, we all came from that era of, okay, we didn't have the turf with the little rubber chips on it and all that stuff like he's got now. We wouldn't know soft landing when you got hit on that. It was like playing on green carpet. It's like turf burns and all that other crap, man. So seeing the concrete aspect, like if you leave the field and you trying to go up for one, you go over that, you know, wall. I'm like, ooh, like I don't think there's enough padding to really protect you from that. That's different.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? This is different. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I know for a fact this is not for me. This is not for me. You know what I'm saying? And I love the game, and I played the game. I'm like, when I saw that, I went to a game, when I was still in my mind trying to consider if I was going to do it. I'm like, not in here.
Yeah, it's
definitely not in here. You know, so.
But the crazy part about it is you hardly ever saw a lineman go over the wall.
No, you never did, but
unless it was just like a really bad scrum.
Yep.
Man.
Like, I've seen Bob McMillan put people over the wall, but I ain't never see him go over.
And I mean, and certain people, Bob is a perfect example. Certain people knew how to hit you to get you over that wall. And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to put you over that wall.
Sam would rather put you in the wall.
Yeah. Wall is undefeated. But that's what made it. That's what made it unique. That's what made it. You know, I was just seeing something. What was I watching? Was it on you guys? No, it might have been on YouTube. I just saw something Friday, some little TNN special thing that they did on arena football that I didn't even know existed. It was really featured on Arizona, and they were talking about, you know, when you think about it, there was no out of bounds. It was that wall. You know, I mean, we had the little line there, but
that line don't count.
The line don't count. You playing a game where there is no out of bounds. You know, and I mean that just, and it ain't like there is no out of bounds. You can just keep running until you run out of space. It was, if you hit that wall, you better you better be ready for some contact.
I remember watching my first like arena bowl, and I remember the commentator saying, you know, if a ball goes over, you can keep the ball, but if a player goes over, you got to give him back. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What you mean? If a player goes over, you got to
go over, yeah.
A player goes over. What kind of ghetto ball is this?
Yeah. You know how many times I've eaten somebody's nachos, like literally laying on them, and you're like, or some popcorn. Yeah, I mean, I've been over that wall a few times. And a lot of it with me was, you know, you going up for a pass, and here comes Mason, and you know what? I'm gonna plant you into the first row. And that was, but see, we never thought about it. Like in the 7 years that I played, I never once said, oh, don't jump because you're next to the wall. Or, you know, a cut back because you're next to, we just played the game and we let the chips fall where they may. But I never once thought about that wall until, you know, you hit it and then you're like, God, doggone, I knew I should have got out. Yeah, it was a different game.
Right. Now, speaking of this, this is something I wanted to know because I've asked everybody that's been on our show that's played, from EJ Burt to Atu Molden. Is there an arena that you hated playing in? Like you just, the minute you hear the team and you on the road, you just hear them, man, I don't want to go there. Can we play at a neutral site? Was there ever an arena that you hated playing in?
Oh man, let me think. I'm trying to think of the teams. Portland was okay because I went to school there. Arizona was always good. Trying to think, we played out, and I don't know if it was an exhibition game. We played it out in West Virginia, wherever that was. That was terrible. You know where it probably was, and it had nothing to do with that. I think it was Nashville. I love going out after the game and chilling in Nashville, but I think it was just Nashville, and when we played Mike, you know, I got one. No, Madison Square Gardens. That was
really,
yeah, because it was old and it was dark, and it just Madison Square Gardens. Both of them and New Jersey was bad.
Oh wow,
yeah.
I never would have thought.
Yeah, I think it was just because it wasn't new. You know, it wasn't. Didn't have the amenities, you know. You're in these ugly locker rooms like Iowa. You know, Iowa painted the walls pink, so you're in a pink locker room.
That was true.
That would be another one. No. Let me take away my disrespect for New York. Iowa Barnstormers. That was the one.
So that was true. They actually did that. Oh wow.
Pink walls. You're in there and they playing like Mary Had a Little Lamb in your speakers. And then you're walking out, and you're in a barn, and people's dumping beer and popcorn, and Iowa.
I had always heard that, but I didn't think that was a true step. I'm like, they couldn't do that, man. Yeah. They couldn't do that.
Pink walls.
Wow.
And then you're listening to these little nursery rhymes, and oh man. Yeah, Iowa.
That's crazy. I never would have thought that was a true story.
Yeah, it was a barn.
That's great.
That was a place, and I can tell you firsthand, I ate nachos. I remember that. I remember being sitting in someone's lap eating nachos in the barn.
Because like when you're in the circle, and the circle I mean is when you're in the world of indoor/arena football, you hear these stories. And I remember hearing that story a lot. And I never even went to Iowa. And I'm just like, ain't no team ever went that far. Yeah. But then again, I had to think about it. I'm from the hood, Ronnie from the hood. We play inner city football. We ain't never heard of nothing like that. Yeah.
Nope.
I never would have thought that was a true story.
Yeah, it was. It was bad. They did everything and they put the heat on. It was hot.
Wow.
Yeah, they
did. Come on,
they did everything they could to.
Now that That I can actually
Yeah.
agree with because I've been in arenas where they purposely put the heat on to try to sweat you to death or just take away your air. I can attest to that one.
Wow.
Iowa, if anybody from Iowa is listening, past or present, come on, man.
Right.
Man, matter of fact, y'all, anybody past or present in Iowa listening, y'all catching one of these just because. Y'all catch one of them.
Yeah, no,
That's just rude.
they took it to heart.
Clearly.
That's
They
nuts
took it to
though.
heart.
I mean, I'm sitting here in my mind thinking like, okay, I walk in this arena, I'm trying to get dressed, I'm trying to get psyched for this game, man. I'm going through my game plan, whatever we practice, all of that. First thing I do when I walk in and go, these
A pink wall.
like what? Like Pepto Bismol, just all around you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you sit down and you hear like Humpty Dumpty or something.
Yeah.
You're like, what is going on up in here? And you're like,
See,
is it hot?
You don't even
Like, is
trip
it
when you
hot?
go in.
Like,
You don't even trip until you sit down. And then it calms you. Like you're sitting in there and then you're like, what's going on? And then you look around and it's pink. It's pink.
man,
Yeah.
I never would have thought.
Yeah.
I never would have thought.
It has to be Iowa because of all that. And then, like I said, them people was up on you. They was, you were getting ready to return a kick and you getting slapped in the helmet and pushed around. Yeah, no, it was, they was on you.
Wow. That's crazy. I never thought that story was true. Now I'm hearing it. One more time. Iowa, y'all catch that one. Yeah, y'all take that one with you. That's just weird. Now, but last question before we move on. Do you miss the game at all? Like just not playing, not necessarily playing, but like just the experiences that you had. Was that something you miss or
more than anything? I dream more about me coming back playing arena football than any dream I ever dreamed. I still dream about playing arena football. It like I said, it was something where, oh, that game sucks. Oh, that ain't real football. And then you get in it and it just encompasses you. And it just, I can remember, like I said, the trips to Iowa, the trips to Portland, the trip to West Virginia, the trip to it's ingrained. And, some games you got our butt whooped, some games you won, but it was just, and for me, it wasn't a lot of, it wasn't, you hear the professional, hey, out on the road, you're going to go do this. And see, that wasn't me. It was just playing the game, competing, building friendships with guys who trying to knock you through the wall, and then that's why I think, like, for me, when I see the game, like in the last couple of years or the way it's gotten, it just pisses me off a little bit because it's like, that's not how we played it. That's not how it was. That's not what it is. Like to me, arena football is Iron Man. That's just me, and I'm an old head. The single platoon and all that, that's not arena football. That's 8-man indoor football. Because it's nothing like Sam Hernandez getting his butt whooped while he's trying to block somebody. And then 2 plays later, that same dude, now you got to block Sam? It takes a special dude. So missing the game, I miss playing it. I miss coaching it. I miss the bond because, like NFL, if you're a rookie or you're a, minimum wage player and you go playing Lambeau and you try and go up to Aaron Rodgers, he's probably going to give you the cold shoulder. Get off of me, please. I don't care who you are. Where in arena football, it wasn't like you can go to Barry and Barry's going to be cool with you, just like Hunky Cooper's going to be cool with you. Like I said, George of France, we're playing Tampa Bay in San Jose. Might have been my first year. And he's got me out an hour or 2 before the game, showing me how to catch the ball off the net, showing me how to set up a guy when I'm running my motion. NFL dudes, they don't give up their secrets. Or if you ain't a money guy, they ain't gonna talk to you. Probably gonna have security jump you.
Right.
So that's what I miss. I just miss how it was really a family, not just your team, but like when you're sitting there, mentioning guys, I'm sitting back playing in my head like, man, I remember him. Or man, that dude was cool. It's just that fraternity that I don't think, it's unlike anything I've ever been around before.
I understand that completely. Real quick, we got a big update. So Smooth, remember when I told you if everything plays out tonight, some history was gonna be made?
Yep.
Okay, it's over with. I can make the announcement now. Cleveland has just won its second championship since 2016. The Cleveland Crunch beat the Wichita Wings 11-6 and win the M2 soccer championship in Wichita.
Hey,
so the Crunch got their championship.
Cleveland Crunch?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
With a C or a K?
With a C.
With a C. Okay.
It was a professional indoor soccer team we had for 20 years before, and then they gave it up, I think about 2004, 2005, and they came back this year in COVID, got their championship. So they will probably more than likely be moving up to N1 next year. But for right now, they've just put up the trophy for the M2 soccer championship. So Cleveland got another one.
That's awesome, man. And in the comeback season too.
Yeah.
Right. In the first season back.
First one back, man.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to hit up Eric and them, man.
Oh, yeah. We already got that covered.
Wow.
So back to Coach. What is life like for you now after playing arena football?
I mean, it's been so long. I mean, now I got what? I got to count in my head now. I got 4 kids, 3 daughters, a son. They're all grown. So now it's just being dad and being coach, and that's it. I mean, and I'm still in San Jose, so I'll run it like perfect example. One of my coaches has been with me. This is 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
He was a ball boy when I played for the SaberCats.
Wow.
One of my other coaches about 2 months ago told me he went to his father-in-law's house, and the father-in-law pulled out a program that I signed for him 20 years ago.
Nice.
So I'm still here. So I still run into, people, and a lot of people, now are, a lot older. The younger generation, they don't know. They got to go back and Google and all that. But a lot of the people that I run into now are like, man, I watched you, when I was 7 or when I was 6. And so, that still feels good to know that you made an imprint. But life for me nowadays is just coaching football and being dad. That's it.
Where are you coaching now?
I'm over at Santa Teresa High School. It was one of my rivals when I was in high school here. Not a rival, but we played against them when I was here in San Jose. And it's weird because in the last 3 years, I've been at 3 different places. And I was at Independence in 2018. I was there for 5 years. We go 10-0, win a championship. Win the league, #1 seed in the playoffs, get upset in the semis. That gave me the opportunity to go coach Menlo Atherton, who had just won the state championship. And Troy Franklin was on that team. And he's like top 5 recruit in the nation, went to Oregon. We go 7-3, and I get the boot, so because they just won the state championship. And then I went back to Independence for COVID. And then after COVID hit, Santa Teresa was open, and they reached out, and, it was hard me leaving the place I just went back to, but I'm out over at Santa Teresa High now. We're, middle of the pack. It's not a powerhouse. Menlo Atherton was a powerhouse. After having my, that little taste, I wanted to coach A-League football. So over at Santa Teresa, haven't coached a game yet. I just been there for about a month now.
That's awesome, man.
But again, with me, it's about helping these kids. Because like you said, I'm from the hood. I'm from the streets, and I want to show kids that, now I'm not no, what's his name, Elon Musk or nothing like that, but you can be from the streets and still bubble and have a home and houses and kids in college and things like that. And that's what I try and show them. Like, I got tattoos, but I don't know if you can tell. I always wear my long sleeve only because if I got a tattoo in high school, my mom would have put me under the jail. I mean, under the grave, but now kids now, 14, 15 getting tattoos on their neck or and nothing's wrong with it, but you just got to realize, what are you going to try and do in life?
Right.
So that's why I coach. I probably will never win a championship. I'll probably never win a section championship or stage, but I don't care. I want to help kids because I think as our society is going, we're doing a bad job of schooling these kids.
Amen.
Agreed.
Now I do wonder, have you told your players about your past life as a player? Or do they know that you were that guy that some of their parents was talking about that they saw play 20 years ago?
Well, see, I never put it out there because, I wanted to make it about them. And, these kids nowadays, arena football, that wasn't nothing, so I let them Google me or their parents and it's funny because I'll get a kid come to me, one day and be like, Coach, I didn't know how good you was. You was the bomb and man, and then they'll go, oh, but y'all's film sucked. It's all grainy and you can barely, because it's on YouTube now,
Yeah.
It's not clear. So, they'll give me stuff about that. But once I think a lot of it with me is I'm a humble guy and I'm here to coach you. I've noticed I get a little bit more respect because of the past, or like when I wear like what I make the kids do is on Fridays, we dress up. You got to wear a shirt and tie. You got to wear slacks. And on Friday, I usually wear the championship ring and none of them know that. So then they'll see it and go, oh man, Coach, you guys really played. And, so it's something I don't necessarily mention, but their parents mention it to them or some kids are just curious and they're like, well, let me see what Coach is about. And, they'll come back and, give me my credit or dues or, or they'll say they can beat me in a race, whatever it is, and at 49, they still can't get me.
Oh, wow.
Hey, man, that's how some guys are, though. Like, okay, prime example. I had a guy who I knew or used to keep in touch with that ended up meeting Daryl Green. Ooh. And he was telling me that, man, Daryl Green still at like 48, this was like a little bit ago, was 47, 48 years old, man, still smoking these kids.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the fastest dudes I ever seen on
easily.
the field. And for him to be at that age and still hitting like a 4 or 5, it was just like, what? Yeah. What did you say? What was he doing? Same thing, man, calling him out. So, part of his I believe he became a pastor or something like that. And part of his ministry, these guys were like just testing him. Like, hey, I know you don't play anymore and all of that. Mm-hmm. So I just want to see real quick, what you got. And he like, just tie up.
Yeah.
Get on the line, get ready, go easy on me, go easy on me. Just smoking these kids.
Yeah.
And they be half his age, can't keep up.
You don't lose. I mean, like that. He ain't only thing with he just ain't got the endurance. Like he can run 2 or 3 of them, and he gonna get them. It's just as you get older, like I'm sure you see the little thing with T.O. still out there racing people and running around, and it just when it's in you, it's in you.
Yeah, that's true.
It's in you.
Yeah, because I don't have it anymore, and I'm not even gonna tell these kids I do.
Yeah.
Don't ask me for a race because I'm gonna trip you as soon as you take off.
If I wasn't coaching, I'd be the same way. But I think with me coaching and running around and trying to show energy, it kind of keeps me somewhat like last year I coached, and I shouldn't say this. Last year I coached girls softball. We didn't have a softball coach because of COVID. And I was like, you know what? I don't know nothing about softball, but I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna help. And it was fun. And I want to say maybe last week of our season, I had this one girl that just thought she knew it all, thought she was the best, didn't want to be a leader. I can do this, I can do that. And my dumb butt, we're bunting, and I'm trying to show the girls how to run to first base. And this girl was just throwing everybody out. This ain't no fun. And so I bunted myself, took off to first base. She didn't catch me. I made it safe, blew my hamstring out.
Oh,
That's the worst,
oh
man.
man.
Yeah, I was safe, but I was like, okay, that's enough of that, So I've learned my lesson. Warm up and stretch before I just start taking off and running.
That's the worst.
Aluminum
Well,
hamstring. And it was a bad one to where I had to go sit in the dugout. Like I was sweating, feel like I was gonna pass out. It was bad. It was bad.
well, thankfully, you were able to walk away from that because
Mhm.
there's a lot of coaches that don't get a chance to.
Yeah.
But we got one topic to stick to. If you want to stick with us, you're more than welcome to. If not, it was a pleasure having you on. It's been a true honor. Smooth, you said you wanted to talk about the NBA Finals.
Oh,
Yeah, man. So, I kept seeing feeds, man. I got a little, what do you call it? Uh, Group text, guys hitting me up talking about, hey, man, who y'all got in this series? And I kept saying, well, I'm thinking the Suns in six, but obviously that's not happening, right? So the thing is, with the Suns winning the first two games, and then, of course, Milwaukee coming out and doing three in a row on them, it got people a little bit on edge a little bit. For those who are Bucks fans, they're happy about it because they could close it out, in a couple of nights here. But then for those who are, Suns fans, are like, man, we got to steal one now in Milwaukee and go back to Phoenix or whatever, and hopefully we close it out there in Game 7. So I don't know, man. For me, I'm kind of like back and forth with it. I do have my, own personal feelings about, who should get like MVP and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of like going back on my word here. It's up in the air for me now. I was really confident about the Suns and how they played. And the last three games, it hasn't looked that great. I do feel like, Chris Paul could have done a little bit more last game. But outside of that, I can't say that I would believe the Suns can still do it. So I'm not confident either way, man. I don't know. What's your take on it?
You know what? We in the same boat because I honestly thought this was the Suns' year to finally get one. After
Mm-hmm.
being so close in the '90s, but you got to see Jordan, and then the Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire years. You get there, but you got to
Yep.
see Kobe. So I I'm hopeful because it's nothing against Milwaukee. Milwaukee already got one. It's back in the '50s, but they got it.
Right.
I just want to see. I'm glad that there's parity in the NBA. For those that don't know what that means, it means it's a variety of teams that are not the same teams that you see, like you did in arena football, seeing San
Man.
Jose always in the playoffs.
Oh man.
But I digress. Um, I let's backtrack a little bit because I feel like
Okay.
the D'Antoni years, there should have been at least one championship
Yeah. I agree.
between Nash and Stoudemire, and all of them. But now I think Chris Paul has it. I just think that the Bucks as a team, looking at these last two games, have figured out their offense. And,
Yep.
defense, it's a true statement. Don't care how you put it. Defense wins championships. So looking at this, I think that the defense has figured out how to corral Chris Paul and Booker and make the rest of the team work harder than they need to.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you looked at the blueprint getting here, the Suns small ball, we're using the speed, kick out three, or small ball using the speed, drive the lane, easy layup. They don't have that no more. And the times that they have had it, there's been a defensive person in their face, and there's been pressure. I want this. I thought this was going to go 5 because of Phoenix's small ball mentality. But now looking at it, if this goes 7, I think the Phoenix will be lucky to get that far because the way that Milwaukee's defense is playing in the crunch time, which is,
Mm-hmm.
the end of the third and the entire fourth quarter, I think this will be a factor in if Phoenix loses this series, this is why they lose, because their defense is figured it out. You know, most teams all season couldn't figure out how to stop small ball. And yeah, it's the regular season, so I get it. But now in the playoffs, they still were having problems figuring out the small ball and the speed. Milwaukee has figured it out, and this could be, if you in Vegas, you might want to change your bet.
You know, for
Because
me too. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you're in Vegas, you might want to change your bet, because Milwaukee might make you lose a lot of money if they keep this up and they're successful.
True. And what's your take on that, Coach? What you think?
I'm like y'all. I mean, I wanted Phoenix, and I think I wanted Phoenix because I'm from the West Coast, and I wanted a West Coast team. I'm not a Giannis fan, right? I'm just his game. There's nothing, and I'm not gonna say flashy, but there's just nothing like when you look at Jordan or Kobe, and I love Allen Iverson. They all gave you something. He don't give me nothing to me but traveling, and I'm just gonna outmuscle you and go to the rim. And so I'm not a Bucks fan. I mean, that's just. But I think them getting that one yesterday, I think is. I want Phoenix, but I personally think now, if perfect example, the winner of tomorrow wins the series, because if Milwaukee wins, they win, and if Phoenix wins, I think getting back home they'll win it. But I don't think they're going to get out, or whenever the game is, I don't think they're going to get out of Milwaukee with a win. What did Booker get last night? 40?
Yeah, 40, man.
And they lost. They can't rebound.
Yeah. No, that's the biggest gap. So, like, they couldn't rebound, and they took Booker out of his game a little bit. I mean, he had 40, right? Obviously, because the boy can score. But when you have your, backcourt, right, trying to swing it around, get your offense moving, distribute the ball. Like, Paul had a lot of assists, but he couldn't score as much. And then with Booker, it was kind of like left up to him, I felt like, between those two. And everybody else just couldn't get going, And like you said, the rebounds weren't there either. Then you got Giannis coming in. He's averaging like 28 and 11, something like that. And then Middleton. No one's talking about Middleton for some reason. Like, I feel like if the Bucks win, I would like to see Middleton get the MVP. We all looking at Giannis and how big and dominant he might be, but at the end of the day, if Giannis not in the game, or they need to, look to somebody to be able to keep it rolling, Middleton was doing it, each and every game.
Here's a question I have, because I've been asking this question since the series started. Why in the hell is Crowder shooting threes?
Man, listen.
Am I alone in this, or am I just
no?
Am I high on my mind? Like,
look, man,
I need answers on this.
That whole thing got me questioning a lot. Let me tell you, because that's never been his game. I don't know why that's even happening now. I feel like that's a huge issue with the way they're playing, right? It's never been really a part of their ball anyway, or their strategy this whole season. You know what I'm saying? It almost gives Milwaukee an edge or an extra attempt, because, first of all, if he's jacking them up, they're not falling. And that's just another, however many rebounds. Right. It gives Milwaukee an opportunity to, have possession. So they got to cut that out, man. And they wasn't doing that the first couple of games. Maybe one or two here and there. Like, if it's wide open, okay, it's wide open, right? But outside of that, like, that's not your game, man. It never was, And they're just letting that dude do it. No, I thought the same way.
Crazy. Yeah, I thought I was crazy, because I've been watching the whole series. Crowder is like 6'6", 6'7", maybe 6'8" with the hair. And I'm watching this, and it's the Stoudemire thing all over again. But the difference was Stoudemire would only get like maybe 5 attempts out of the entire game, which made sense because he's a big man. He was their center, essentially. With Crowder, I'm sitting up here watching this, and I'm like, dude, why are you behind the three-point line? There is no reason in God's green earth that you should be behind the three-point line. Everybody else, okay, you Get your ass under the net. I thought it was
Jesus.
crazy to ask that, but I'd be cheating myself as a journalist out of a good question to get an answer if I didn't ask. I don't understand why he's even behind the line, and they're losing the rebound battle because of this.
Man, listen, like with him, so if you are primarily playing the three or the four, right? Let's say the four, especially because on this team, it's a small ball team. You playing the four. Let's call it what it is. You need to be that dude going up in there and getting the boards and kicking it out. Because if you got Paul and you got Booker and some other guys that can, hit that shot, you need to be the one under there trying to grab every single rebound you can. You need to be all over the floor. You need to be as annoying as Verjao used to be. All over
Yeah,
people's back, like just
yeah,
jumping around, getting 15 boards a game, whether you score or not. That needs to be you right now.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to be the one trying to get up in there and get those second chance opportunities, getting that offensive rebound. That's another thing. If you can get a bunch of offensive boards, that'll turn the game around too. You know,
hmm
and just swing it around the way you know how to swing it around, man. Get that clock reset. Do what you got to do. Because I mean, him shooting the threes, I'm just like, oh my gosh, do y'all want to lose? Is there something on this game where you're supposed to give it up and you get paid? Like, seriously, you're gonna literally
right.
shoot the game
That's
away.
really what it looked like.
Right. It's the opposite effect. Like, yeah, you're supposed to, shoot to knock down shots, but you're gonna end up shooting to give the game away.
Yeah.
A little bit of opposite effect here. You gotta stop doing that, man. If they want to have any chance to win this guy's game, don't let him shoot three at all. Unless it's wide open, super wide open where no one's gonna jump in your face at all. You know,
Right,
maybe take that shot once.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's not your
but
game, man.
but that's what I was thinking, and it was starting to get on my nerves because Shaq never jacked up a three unless it was the All Star game. Shaq never jacked
Yeah,
up a
yeah.
three.
Right.
Patrick
Exactly.
Patrick Ewing Patrick Ewing never jacked up a three. Bill Cartwright never jacked up a three. Hell, Sean Kent, not Sean Kent, Ray Traylor with the Cavs
Mm.
never jacked up a three. Why is your gigantic ass behind, dude? Like you're killing opportunities for the rest of the team.
Yeah, man.
And I felt like I thought I was crazy. I was looking at these games. I'm like, okay, the first game, y'all blowing them out. All right, might as well. Go ahead. Take a shot. Take a shot. Second game, same thing. Y'all blowing them out. Take a shot. When Milwaukee started turning it around, if I'm the coach, Crowder, don't get your ass behind the line no more. Get under the net, grab some boards so we can win this thing. Y'all are too close. Way too close.
That's
And it
exactly
made no
it.
sense. It
And then
made
you
no
gotta look back
sense.
too. Like look back on the previous teams that he's been with, man. Like you wasn't doing that in Boston. You wasn't
Not
doing that in
even.
Miami,
You
right?
weren't even doing
And
that
this
in
is
Cleveland.
no, and this is more like recent, him being in the playoff talks or being able to go to some of those teams that we just talked about that went a lot further. And here you are in the finals. Like, are you being given the free reign to do that kind of thing? Like, is it just you trying to take a
E-
chance? It makes me question a lot.
even if you was, there's no reason you should have back to be back there. I don't care if you did have free range. Chickens
Man.
got free range too, and you see where they end up.
Hey, so this is some of the best eggs, by the way. I'm just saying. You
At,
know.
hey, look, you right, but free range chickens get sent up, and get chopped up too. So, in my mind, if you got free range, you need to be thinking twice. You are a
True.
you're not a 3-point shooter. You are a mid-range, maybe mid-range to 10-foot shooter. Take them shots, grab them boards, foul if you need to on a fast break, but you don't need to be outside the line because you're killing it. And for those, because I'm not, you are Ronnie. You know this, coach. You about to learn this. I'm not a big basketball person like I used to be, but I know damn well. I'm not big enough to be up under the net, so I'm not gonna grab a rebound unless it come near me. So if I'm smart enough to know that, Crowder should be smart enough to know you too damn big to be back there. Get under the net.
Yeah.
Where
If
he
he
belongs.
does that, yes, where he belongs. And if he does that, excuse me, I think this series will turn around. But until he does that, or until the coach makes that decision, It's remained to be seen. If they don't,
Absolutely.
they only got one game left.
Absolutely. And then you think about just basketball in general, you know, the more rebounds that you get, the more opportunities you get to score, the more, possessions and more time that you get to have the ball in your hands, to do something with it. So the more you let go, that's just more opportunity for the team to be able to drop shots. And if they get
Mm-hmm.
hot, ain't no coming back from that because we know how the momentum can swing in a second, right? The
Mm-hmm.
court only but so big. All you need is like 2 minutes, man. You can drop as many points you need to drop and do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? To make this a game. And at the end of the day, man, we all agree. Crowder, please grab some boards.
Got to.
Thank
Please
you.
grab some boards.
You
Oh my
have to.
goodness. Please grab
That's
some
what you
boards.
get. That's what you get paid for. That's what you get paid for.
So
That's all I got, man. That's all I had. I didn't understand why he was behind the line and you were like 3 for 27. That's
but for real
I
though, like
yeah, you're 3 for 27 in the series. I've never seen
What?
Shaq don't even miss that many free throws.
man, listen.
3 of 27?
You
Bro, he's
gotta
not a
be.
ball
Ooh.
man,
He's
he's not
not
a
a
volume
3 point
shooter.
shooter.
And he's not a volume
He's
shooter
not.
either. You're not gonna keep shooting the shot and all of a sudden it
He's
just
the
drops
one or
for you.
two and
It's just
call it a
not.
day.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've seen him make one, and that was game one where they was blowing the team. It was blowing Milwaukee out. It was literally a runaway, and I saw that. Okay, yeah, that okay. You can have a little fun, but now it's they just Milwaukee has set in. They have paid attention. They went back and looked at film. Where did we go wrong? Where did we fuck up? Okay, if we push Crowder to the line, he can't get no rebounds. Make him shoot a three.
Yeah. Yeah.
We out rebounding them regardless. Giannis has clearly been a star rebounder in the league, so it's not like he can't get a rebound. If you keep Crowder out of there, they don't have nobody else that can jump or out muscle Giannis or anybody else on that team. So it only makes sense. If you're Milwaukee, it makes sense. Go ahead, yeah, go ahead, shoot a three.
Yeah.
Shoot a three. Go ahead. We know you stink, but if they're gonna throw you the ball, go ahead, shoot it. Maybe I'm wrong about this scenario, and maybe tomorrow night or Tuesday night or whenever it is, Crowder just starts going 10 for 10 from behind the line. But I'm not gonna hold my breath on that. So until that happens, I'm feeling like if the coach don't make a drastic decision to either bench him, which he probably won't, or
Right.
put his big ass back under the net, they're gonna lose this game, and you're gonna be watching Milwaukee hoist up a trophy.
And that's the thing, man. I'm looking at Monty Williams like, let's see
Mhm.
what you do. Let's see what
Mhm.
adjustments you make.
Mhm.
Because y'all lose this game, man. It's gonna come back to you. Because you was up 2-0 on that series, man. You gonna let them get 4 in a row?
Yeah.
They're gonna look at you. They're gonna look at you.
This ain't as bad as 3-1, but it's pretty bad.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially when you got the better team. Literally, you have the better team.
You do. You do. And no disrespect to them, but it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
oh man. But it has been an exciting series overall. I'm glad to
It
see
has.
some teams that hasn't been in there for a very long time, something different. So, I'm happy about that, man. So it's good to see that.
That's as far as the happiness goes for me, because
Right.
I literally wanted Phoenix to win, because watching back in the day with Kevin Johnson and Charles and them, like
Dan Marley and Danny
yeah.
Manning.
And then you see them go up against the Bulls and get obliterated. Then you see, all right, stupid Dallas traded away Steve Nash. Now he's in Phoenix, which is good for Phoenix. They get Stoudemire. All right, let's see what they do. Then you got to run into Kobe. All right, we know how this is going. This is Jordan all over again. This is your third time. This is your third time where you have a chance and you have the better team, and you're blowing it. I don't know. I'm hoping for the best, but if it don't change, we know who fault it is. It's Crowder's.
Y'all cold. Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
man.
Hey, man. Hey, let's just be honest, coach. And when Crowder get, if they lose this game, I'm giving Crowder one of these. And then right behind it, I'm giving him one of these.
Oh God. Okay.
I'm just saying, man.
Yeah.
All the times we didn't got yelled at as players and coaches, for mistakes we didn't made. This ain't no different.
Yeah.
Nope. Not at all, man.
All right, Coach. It was great having you on.
Man, I appreciate y'all. Thank you. I mean, and I'm definitely gonna be following. I was looking at all during the week with the Peyton Mannings and all them dudes that you guys was doing. I was watching that the whole time. So now that I know y'all got a platform, anything I can do to help you, man, I appreciate you. Just reach out to me. Let me know, man. Don't make this a one and done thing. I appreciate.
Oh no, never. We appreciate
definitely,
you
man.
being on.
We appreciate that for sure.
And you should actually thank some of your arena football friends because that was how I found you.
Oh, okay.
That was how you got the message because I was like, wait, Steve Papin, that can't be. Is he still alive? It wasn't like that, but you like no, like seriously, like once. Because it's not a secret that once you guys retire, you are some of the hardest people to track down. So please don't take it personal like that. But like,
no.
When y'all retire, exactly. When y'all retire, we can't find y'all.
Yeah.
So thanks some of your arena football friends for that, because this is blessing in disguise.
Appreciate it.
You always welcome back. We actually. I'm thinking about talking with Ronnie about something we should be doing, because if all else keeps going the way it's going, which it has been, and we've been blessed, we like to help you guys out and give you guys the due and the respect that y'all have deserved and earned.
Appreciate it. What I'm gonna do because now that I got you on the phone and all that stuff, like I said, this arena stuff it could be any day, or it could be because I'm working with the people that's bringing it back. So once it gets to that point, I'm definitely gonna reach out to see if you can get them on here to talk about the new arena league that's coming back.
We would be all for it.
Yeah,
we'd be all for it.
Yeah.
And Cleveland, if you're watching, Cleveland better have a team.
Mm-hmm.
If Cleveland don't have a team, I'm boycotting.
Man, like don't go through all that trying to bring them up in here, man, and all of a sudden you just be like, yeah.
I will say this. It's going to be old school, but if everything pops off, now it's going to be different owners and all that, but a lot of the former or original Arena League teams will be in it. I'm not going to say who, but it's like it's because they want to bring it back like it was back in the 90s and early 2000s. And if it pops off, I'm definitely going to reach out to you to see if you can get the people on here to talk and, if nothing else, to spread the word about, hey, it's back and this is, all that good stuff.
For sure.
We'd be more than welcome to help.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
All right, you guys. Don't forget to please like and follow us on Facebook. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. Yes, that was us talking with the Hall of Fame class of 2020 and 2021. That was not any figment of your imagination. That was us. Talking with Troy, talking with Peyton, talking with Edgerrin James. That was us. So we working. We working. So don't get it twisted. And as soon as this other thing gets finalized, we will be making another big announcement. It's just more to come, man. It's just more to come. We still working. So
it's been
stick
a blessing,
with us.
Man.
Very big
great
blessing.
Ride. Looking forward to everything that's in store, with the upcoming fall, with all the other stuff we got going on. Last week, man, was just crazy, And for me being back in office, stuff like that, and trying to figure that out, I was like, look, I ain't missing out on this, man. I took a half day off of work. I said, look, even if I do a full day, I said, look, I ain't missing this. I'm sorry, bro.
Right.
What y'all going on, but opportunity of a lifetime, man. I said, I don't know when I'll even get a chance to do that again. You know what I'm saying? Or
and
talk to
to
people on that
and
like
to
that. So,
think, we never thought in a million years, Coach, because I didn't get a chance to give you the whole story. But back in 2019, this podcast started off as a prediction. Ronnie had made a post about the Minnesota Penn State game, and all I said was, knowing Penn State, if they not focused and they look past and look into Ohio State, they'll lose this game by 3 to 5 points. And
yep,
that's
nobody
exactly what
believed
happened.
us. Nobody
And that's
believed us.
exactly what happened.
Mhm.
Fast
Yep, it was
forward,
crazy.
yeah, it was because you didn't expect it. And fast forward with that to 2020 in August, I never thought in a million years I would have been speaking with Hakeem Alston, who was a world champion kickboxer and an actor. Never would have thought about that. And then now we speaking with the class of 2020 and 2021 in the Hall of Fame. And speaking with you, speaking with Atu Molden, speaking with EJ Burt. Like guys we actually watched. Like we never would have thought it was that serious. And here we are.
Y'all
Like
ball.
you got and Ronnie, you got on the right shirt too.
Yeah, man, you know,
Yeah.
represent. You know what I'm saying?
So
Y'all
yeah,
keep
Coach, we
doing it,
definitely
man.
appreciate it.
Y'all definitely. That's what you're doing is what people don't. I mean, and people don't realize the hard work that you got to reach out to people and set this up and get your questions and do all this. And when I saw that the Hall of Fame stuff, I mean, I was coming anyway because we'd already talked. But I was like, okay, let me make sure, see what I got to do, and I got to, And I saw that, man, and I was like, oh man, I wanted to call y'all and say, can we postpone? Let everybody forget about that. And then let me come in next week. Yeah,
no, I would have missed.
No.
We don't miss opportunities. Like even if that was the case where we spoke to them, we still wouldn't. I wasn't missing this. Like as much as I hate the SaberCats, watching you and being able to talk to you was more important because come on, man.
Oh, rubbing it in too. Look at all that salt on the wound right there.
Look. Okay.
Hey, Mel. So this is a different kind of salt. This kind of like still in the crystal form, and you put it in the grinder, and just like this, like all over your stuff, bro.
That is a beautiful championship ring, by the way. But still, you ain't have to do it like that. Had I known that you had it sitting right up the desk, I'd have cut the feed real quick.
I was waiting for that. As soon as I grabbed that, he gonna cut me. He gonna cut me.
I ain't gonna cut you, but that one stung. That stung.
All love.
But it's still an honor, because
indeed, man.
We don't as kids, we didn't think that this would get as far as it did, and to see it progress has been a blessing. Our families support us 100%. And just, I feel like we are headed in the right direction. I feel like what we're doing should have been done for us years ago. But if we have to take that step, then so be it.
Be the pioneers. Yeah.
So
for sure.
We appreciate it so much, Coach.
Reach out. Let me know. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that being said, for 4th and 15, that's Coach Steve. I'm Mel. That's Smooth. Peace.